Before today's announcement, Canon have been teasing the R5, this camera here, very heavily. It's their new flagship mirrorless camera and it has some very impressive video specs indeed. We've got a video going in detail on it which we've released alongside this one, so make sure you take a look at that video as well if you're interested in the R5. But the R5 wasn't all that Canon had up their sleeve. Today, they've announced the R6. It has almost all of the most useful video features of the R5, and it's nearly half the price. So I think it's going to be a very popular camera indeed for Canon. We don't have an actual camera here, we have the R5 instead, but I know all of the specs. So let's dive right in. The R6 has a full frame 20 megapixel CMOS sensor, and it can record 4K video up to 60 frames a second with the full width of the sensor. It has the same stabilized sensor and autofocus system as the R5, but that lower megapixel sensor means they should be significantly better in low light. This is going to be a fantastic all-purpose mirrorless camera for video, which gives you all the tools that you need to work very quickly in pretty much any situation you might find yourself in, because of the decent low light, the stabilized sensor, the slow motion with 4K 60p and 120 frames a second 1080, and of course that fantastic autofocus which really helps you work quickly. The R6 may not be as powerful as the R5, but it's still a real professional video workhorse, and with its lower price point, should fit the bill for a lot of people. So the main features of the R5 that you don't get with the R6 are the 45 megapixel resolution for stills, the 8K resolution for video, the 4K 120 frames a second slow motion, the higher resolution EVF, and all-eye video compression. So if those features are important to you in your work, then you may want to look at spending that little bit more and going for the R5. There's no doubt that the R5 is a better camera for video, but if you don't need those features, the R6 is going to save you a lot of money and be a really convenient workhorse of a camera. In fact, in many ways, the R6 is everything we wanted the EOS R to be. It has full frame 4K video recording, rather than the 1.7 times crop in 4K on the EOS R. It has the physical controls of the R5, which remind me a lot of the 5D series with a physical joystick rather than the touch bar of the EOS R. It has in-body sensor stabilization, which lets you get up to a fantastic 8 stops of stabilization with some lenses like these RF ones here. And it has dual SD card slots. For video work, the R6 should just be a better camera overall than the EOS R was, and it will be a fantastic camera for anyone with a Canon Cinema EOS camera to use as a B camera alongside those as the A camera. For codecs, you're limited to IPB, so long got recording, which at 4K 25 frames a second gives you a data rate of 120 megabits a second. And this should work out fairly similar in quality to the MP4 of the C200, and probably a bit better than the 4K XAVC-S that we've seen on some of Sony's mirrorless cameras to date. Strangely, the camera can actually do the better all-eye codec like the R5 can do, but only in time-lapse mode. In the normal video modes, it's in IPB. But the big question mark for me is just how good this camera is going to be in low light. Canon have released some sample footage which looks pretty impressive, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to run some of our own tests on this. Because if this camera has high ISO performance that can compare or even get close to cameras like the A7S from Sony or the GH5S from Panasonic for example, this could be a huge plus for the R6. Regardless though, I think the R6 is going to be a very popular choice for video work, whether that's as your main camera or as a B camera to the Cinema EOS lineup. I also really like that Canon are releasing both the R5 and the R6 at the same time, so that customers can make an educated choice at launch between the two models. They've got all the information that they need. So if you're debating which one of these two to go for, do you go R5, do you go R6, please do get in touch with our sales team and we'll happily help you decide which one will work best for you and your work. I'm hoping to get a unit soon which we can actually put to the test, do some filming with it and see what it can do, so stay tuned for more videos on both cameras. But for now, thanks very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.